Let's talk about how the Amazon rainforest has been exploited, including by soy and beef industries, mining, land grabbing, oil extraction, and illegal logging. While due to climate change and biodiversity loss, we now talk about the destruction of the Amazon with a sense of urgency, the history of human activities negatively impacting the Amazon can be traced back to European colonization. In this episode, we will briefly go through this part of history. In the mid-16th century, the journey of the Spanish colonizers to the Amazon was linked to their desire to find cinnamon, which was of great value back in the day. What the Spanish army found in their journey through Ecuador, however, was hunger and desperation. Most troops could not continue their journey, so one man, Francisco de Orellana, was tasked to navigate the river with his fleets to find food for them. Knowing the direction of the river would not allow him to go back, he went on to carry out the first exploration of the Amazon. As it is well known, the colonization of South America by Europeans brought persecution, slavery, and diseases to the local peoples. A great number of indigenous peoples, especially those who were not living inside the forest, went from nomadic to sedentary lifestyles, losing control of their territories and their traditional ways of living. Colonization was followed by the history of extraction of resources in the Amazon. An emblematic example of resource extraction in the Amazon is the so-called rubber boom. Indeed, although indigenous peoples used this resource for several purposes, colonizers prompted a heavier exploitation of rubber. At the beginning, such material was exploited for a limited number of industrial purposes because it was sensitive to temperature changes, altering its shape and consistency. However, in the late 18th century, this issue was overcome, and its demand increased by countries such as England, France, and the United States. This demand was linked to the production of hoses, tires, industrial bands, sheets, shoes, shoe soles, and other common products. Between the second half of the 19th century and the first half of the 20th century, the rubber boom in the Amazon transformed its ecosystems and peoples. This era was marked with the exploitation of indigenous peoples for labor. In 2012, the president of Colombia, Juan Manuel Santos, asked for forgiveness 100 years after a Peruvian firm tapping rubber killed up to 100,000 indigenous peoples in this country. In Colombia, the rubber industry was also linked to slavery, torture, and mutilation. José Eustacio Rivera's book, The Vortex, one of the most famous Colombian novels written in 1924, denounces the exploitation of rubber tappers.
I am a rubber tapper. I live in the fetid river mud, in the solitude of the forest, with my malarial crew, slicing trees that bleed white blood like the blood of the gods.
While the development of more competitive rubber from Asia marked the downfall of the Amazon rubber industry, there was something else to extract from the tropical rainforest: oil. The western Amazon, located in the east of Ecuador, became specially prone to this type of extraction when Texaco, merged today into Chevron, entered the zone in the 1960s, which led to the decrease of indigenous groups in the area. The activities of the oil company in the area caused serious degradation and deforestation. In 1992, a major oil spill caused the affected countries, Ecuador and Peru, to declare states of emergency in the affected zones. This led to a lawsuit that has become a very controversial case, going on until this day. The case has been dubbed the Amazon Chernobyl. When we see images of the Amazon, it is hard to get a grasp of the horrors that its ecosystems and inhabitants have endured. Despite it all, the Amazon rainforest continues to regulate our climate, and the indigenous peoples living in it continue ensuring its protection, a task that continues to be difficult today. It is time to change the centuries-old narrative of impunity and destruction into one of prolonged protection and respect for the Amazon rainforest and its inhabitants. Check the other episodes and follow us on our social media profiles to learn more about Amazonia.